question 3. Well, so in part A we're just using the remainder theorem. So we know x plus 1 is a factor. No, it's not a factor. X plus 1 is what we're dividing to. Excuse me, it's not a factor because we have a remainder. But we know we're dividing by x plus 1, and when we do, we get a remainder of 45. So if we substitute minus 1 into our function, when we plug this into this, we know that's going to equal 45. So f of minus 1 is 6 lots of minus 1 cubed plus 3 lots of minus 1 squared plus a lots of minus 1 plus b, and that equals 45. So working out each of these terms here, we get minus 6, add 3, minus a plus b equals 45, and tidying that up, we get b minus a equals 48 as required. Now, part B, this is remainder theorem. Here we're being told that this is a factor. So when we substitute in minus a half because that's the value that makes this factor 0, when we substitute minus a half into the function, we get no remainder because it's a factor. So substituting minus a half into this again, we make that equal to 0, which I've done here. So substituting minus a half into each of the terms, we get this. Tidying it up, we get this, and tidying it up further, we get half a equals b. So I've now got two equations with two unknowns. So I've got a simultaneous equation to solve. I've chosen to call this number 1 and this number 2. So substituting 1 into 2, I get half a minus a equals 48. In other words, minus half a equals 48, so a equals minus 96. Now b is half a, so that's half of minus 96, which is minus 48. Right, so part C, factorize this fully. Well, we now know what a and b is, so we can actually write our function out fully here. I've substituted an a being minus 96 and being minus 48, and I'm going to divide that by the factor 2x plus 1. So doing our long division, I get this here. So just to remind you how the long division works, you need to say to yourself what times 2x gives us 6x cubed, and that's 3x squared. That's where that's come from. So that's step 1. Right, so 3x squared times our 2x is our 6x cubed, as we knew, and 3x squared times plus 1 is plus 3x. So we take this away from the above, and we actually get 0 here. Normally we'll have some x squareds and we'll just draw down the next term here. But as we've got 0, we choose to draw down both the next two terms. So we draw down the minus 96x and the minus 48, and we start our next cycle. What times 2x gives us minus 96x? Well, that's minus 48. Minus 48 times our 2x gives us a minus 96x, and minus 48 times plus 1 is minus 48. Take this away from the above and we get 0 as we knew. So basically our first step of factorizing is to say that this cubic breaks down to 2x plus 1 multiplied by 3x squared minus 48. Now this isn't fully factorized yet, so first thing I've noticed is that 3 is a factor of the second bracket, so I've taken the 3 outside. So 3, 2x plus 1, and having taken the factor of 3 out, I'm left with x squared minus 16. And this is one of these difference between two squares. So x squared minus 16 is x plus 4, x minus 4. So that's my final answer.